Welcome everyone to Vinyl Addict. This is Chili. It's a soundtrack day, and I'm gonna do Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Quentin Tarantino soundtrack for the film. Now, before that, I just wanted to say don't forget to like, comment, and share on this video. And so let's start this. First of all, this is a double album, and there's a gatefold to it. It's really nice packaging. It came in orange vinyl, and this one is just black. And has some cool pictures in here of the film. And I like the way the label is done like old school way, just like in his films. He'll take an old bumper for like Columbia Pictures or Universal, and he'll just bring out the old way of doing it in the films with the cracks and everything like that. And so that goes with the packaging as well. There's just more pictures from the film, and it comes with an insert of just song titles and the credits. And there's actually, I believe, there's a little poster in here. Yes. And it kind of just has what Hollywood was in 1969, but of course there's added things in here like Red Apple, which is the cigarette brand that's in the Quentin Tarantino universe, and Jack Rabbit Slims is right here, but you know, everything else like from the movie, if you've seen the movie, you know, you have Brad Pitt's trailer, and you have, you know, Sharon Tate, and you know, Dalton's house, you know, the cul-de-sac and whatnot. And so it's all in here in this little kind of poster, which is really cool. Now, this soundtrack that Quentin says is pretty much his homage, or he was influenced by American Graffiti, the old George Lucas film set in the 50s, and it has a Wolfman Jack, who was a DJ in the film, in between the songs and whatnot. And so this is done in the same fashion. And what he did was go back to because the film is set in 1969, the day of the Sharon Tate murders by Charles Manson's family. So it's going through that day of 1969. So they're using music. He's collected songs from 69 and a little earlier from 69, and some of the adverts are authentic. You know, he listened to like 14 hours of this stuff from archives of this radio station, KBJ, I believe it's called. And some of these DJs, Humble Harv, and so he's kind of bringing all of that back. The detail on this is really good. So instead of doing the typical Quentin Tarantino soundtrack of having excerpts from the film, the dialogue, and putting scenes in there, none of that is here. It's just you're listening to the radio station that in 1969. You have commercials, and then you have segues, and the song will start while the DJ is still talking, and that sort of thing. So it's really a different direction, and I thought it was really clever. But let's go into the songs, what they have in here. Like some of my favorites is Rambling Gambling Man, which is Bob Seger. And, you know, he got more famous in the 70s, but this was his first top 20 song. And, you know, Rambling Gambling Man has been covered by, you know, Sammy Hagar, Bruce Springsteen, even the Black Keys. And so it starts over here in 1969. Another one is the Deep Purple songs, the Mark I lineup. They got Hush from their first album, and Kentucky Woman, which is a Neil Diamond cover song, and that is here. And like I said, there's commercials throughout the whole advertisements throughout the whole album. You got like Tanya's tanning butter advertisement, things like that. The Illustrated Man advertisement, Ready for Action. But some other songs that are on here is like Hector by the Village Callers, which was a really cool song, and it's a song that's been heavily sampled in hip hop, from Ice Cube to the Beastie Boys. And if you heard this song, the intro with that beat, you would go, okay, that's been played in Cypress Hill songs in the 90s, when that time when in the 90s, early 90s, where sampling was, the thing. And this is one of those songs that was sampled a lot in different hip hop albums and groups. And another one that I really liked here was California Dreamin' by Jose Feliciano. And I'm not a big Mamas and Papas fan, but his version of this, is the first time I ever heard it, was just really stirring. It was an acoustic song. It's very kind of melancholy. It reminds me of the theme song from MASH. It's just very that Suicide song, and it has that kind of feel for me. And I was really taken aback by that one. I was like, wow, that's a good song. That's a great song, and that's Jose Feliciano, the Feliz Navidad guy. Another one here, I mentioned before, because I've done Death Proof, that soundtrack, and I like the songs that Quentin does where, there's always that part in the film where, he'll put a specific song on that specific piece of, the scene where everyone will just go, oh, wow. You can't forget that scene, like in Reservoir Dogs, of course. It's Steeler's Wheel, the scene where Mr. Blonde is torturing the police officer, and the famous cutting of the ear scene, and you hear that song being played. The Death Proof film, the song, the I guess the one that people would remember would be the Lap Dance, and that had the Coasters. Down in Mexico. And the one here is You Keep Me Hanging On, the Quentin Tarantino edit by Vanilla Fudge. And that is the scene where, the three Charles Manson family members go to, they supposed to go to Sharon Tate's house, but they go into the wrong house. And Brad Pitt's character is on acid, and, he takes care of these people, or there's this whole bloody gory end, and that song is being played, and there's tension, and it was like the perfect song. He knows how to put like songs in scenes that are just so cinematic and just edge of your seat kind of scenes, and that Vanilla Fudge song was perfect. And so that's the song here for the Quentin Tarantino movie of this soundtrack. That was just the pivotal scene in the film. And then there's like KHJ Batman Promotions, how it ends the soundtrack, where you hear Adam West from that time saying, call the station, and and if you're this caller or whatever, you'll win a contest to hang out with Batman and Robin. And so, it's really authentic advertisements that they're using here, so it's really cool. Is this my favorite of the Quentin Tarantino soundtracks? It's I like the direction it took, so the songs itself, it's just all that 1 year and everything, and I like the way it's done in that sense, where they kind of, there's a concept to it, other than like other soundtracks he's done where it's coming from different decades or different genres, and this one, it's really cool. It's cohesive and it works. He didn't add in like on the Hateful Eight soundtrack. He had songs from artists, but he also added score in between it, and so it's going back and forth. I like just the fact that it was just like the film. If you've seen the film, they're always in their cars, and they're always on the radio, and the thing is, it's just like I've seen the movie a few times before getting the soundtrack, and so when I heard this album, I was just like, oh, okay, that's that scene, that's that scene. It was every song, other than like the Vanilla Fudge track, it is kind of memorable in certain scenes. Like there was the Circle Game, which is done by Buffy St. Marie, and which is a Joni Mitchell song, and that's the song where Margot Robbie is going to the movie theater, and she's playing Sharon Tate, and she's just has her feet up and everything, and that song is on, and just like I just remember that scene, and I go, oh, that's that song, and so it was really good with doing that. He's been getting really, better at choosing scenes and specific songs that make you remember. But of course, the big one was the Vanilla Fudge song because it was the big climax. And so I mean, it's up there with me as far as movies go. With Quentin, my favorite top three is Kill Bill, The Hateful Eight, and this movie. I feel like he's gotten better with age, just like wine. It's just like his film's gotten really. The writing and everything has just gotten way better, and the soundtrack of this is really good. So I would put it up there as one of his best ones, just for the concept in itself. It's a standalone, because a lot of the things that he's done, from Reservoir Dogs and the Pulp Fiction soundtrack and the Jackie Brown one, it was kind of the same kind of formula. I put some scenes from the film that are some clever lines, and then put the song on that coincides with that scene. That's fine, but this was I like the way he did it on this one. So that is the soundtrack. It's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Tell me what you think, and leave a comment below. Was this one of his best ones? Are the songs selection that he did, could have they been better? Because one thing about this soundtrack is that there was more songs that were on the film that weren't on this soundtrack, which is unfortunate, because the Rolling Stones' Out of Time, which is played at the end, that's not on here. And even the song that Leonardo DiCaprio sang, that's on that TV show in the movie, is not here. So there's all kinds of things that we're missing. Maybe they'll put out a deluxe box set or something like that. I mean, like the Almost Famous one that I did a unboxing of that. There was like 6 vinyls of, and every song was almost every song was in that collection. They still missed out on some of them that still weren't on the they still didn't put in. But I mean, that's the most I've seen as far as when there's so much music in a movie that they put out a super deluxe edition box set. And perhaps you'll have a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood kind of part 2, or whatever. But it's been so long since this one was released. But hopefully maybe a box set or something like that. That's wishful thinking, but that's my thoughts on this. Like I said, like, comment, and share, and subscribe to this channel if you still haven't. And I'll see you guys in the next film and next vinyl. Take care.